Well, it looks like the Pac-12 talking heads had it wrong. Colorado Buffaloes, per reports at least, are planning to join the Big 12 conference, according to Brett McMurphy, in 2024. Now, it's not official yet, but it looks like it's in the works. I'm joined by my good friend, the outlaw of college football, and we are going to talk about this. Breaking news. Outlaw, how you doing?
All right, brother. How you doing?
I'm
We've
good.
sort of been tinkering around with this for the last week, going back and forth. We couldn't decide whether they were going to stay or go, man. And it's just like the other day when they had the little Pac-12 media days with George Kliavkoff. He basically botched that whole media days thing. You could sort of see it coming.
Yeah. Real quick before we get any further, let everybody know where you are, where they can find you, and all that good stuff.
I'm outlaw of college football. I'm on YouTube, and I can also be located on Twitter at OCF Productions.
And for those of you watching, I have that scrolling along the bottom of the screen, along with my X handle, I guess it's called now, at Couz206. You can find me on there as well, or otherwise known as Twitter. I guess they've changed their name, which is a whole nother topic of discussion. But anyway, I'm going to take that down for just a minute. But what in your opinion, who will be the next team to jump ship, if anybody?
Yeah, I had a question I wanted to ask you. I wanted to pose you a question. You think it might, and I didn't think of this until just a few minutes ago. You think it might just be Colorado? And if it was just Colorado, wouldn't the Pac-12 need to immediately go out and maybe grab San Diego State so maybe they could keep their Power 5 status? Because I think if anybody else leaves, I think the Pac-12 may lose their Power 5 status. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that it could be just Colorado, and that's something that I have thought about. They could go and just add San Diego State, backfill with them, go back to 10 members, and keep rolling like they are. If they
Next, it sure
do
was
that,
funny that San Diego State put in that legwork to get out of their conference, and all of a sudden it just
yeah,
blew up.
yeah,
So there may be
yeah,
something there.
yeah, it could be. Maybe they realized that they weren't going to get in regardless. But if they backfill with San Diego State, I don't. I still think they'll be able to keep their Power 5 status. I mean, they're still going to have Oregon, Washington, assuming they don't leave, obviously.
Yeah,
And some good brands in that conference.
I think if two of those teams leave, and it may just be Colorado's all it takes for the Big Ten to have an excuse because they're trying to wash their hands of it. We don't want blood on our hands for being the death of the Pac-12 when we all know they're the one that shot the fatal shot.
Right.
I mean, they're trying to cleanse their hands, but they can't. But it'll give them their green light. And I think that if Colorado leaves, the Big Ten's going to go in there and get Oregon and Washington at that point. And then I think Arizona, a lot of people said they'll be next. But I've been hearing Oregon State's trying to sneak in there. And Oregon State would be smart to do that if they just go ahead and get in there while Arizona State, and Utah are being all indecisive. Oregon State could steal a spot.
Absolutely. Real quick before we move on, I got 2 super chats to get to. First off, I want to give a shout out to Jared Jones. Jared Jones, thank you for the 1999 super chat. He says, "Great day for the Big 12. Congrats." Thank you, Jared. It is a big day.
That's right.
Us and all the other Mountaineer fans this is the first time in our history we have actually been in a conference that added another power team to the conference. Usually it's been we lose teams, right? This time we're actually adding one. Now, here's the caveat to this. This is not official yet. I want to make sure I clear that up. They still have not received an official invitation, and they still have not accepted an invitation. We feel like it's a formality at this point because you've got pretty much everybody now in the media reporting it. Brett McMurphy, Pete Thamel over at ESPN. So it seems like it's a formality, but things could blow up. Colorado, is my understanding, is supposed to meet, or they met today. Colorado had a board meeting today. My understanding, the Big 12 presidents are meeting tonight to discuss it. I'm assuming they would send a formal invitation after that. And then Colorado has scheduled another meeting for tomorrow, another board meeting, which is, I assume, will be the one where they vote whether or not to join. Then I think, it's my understanding, I think that's when they will actually send the Big 12 will send an invitation. I don't know how it works, or they could accept the invitation rather once they vote on it. but I don't know how it all works exactly, but it's something along those lines. Here's
Well,
another super chat from Jake Rice. Jake, we appreciate you, man. Jake's another Mountaineer fan. He says, appreciate you, Couz. We appreciate you, Jake, man. Thank you for the support.
you know that
Go-
little nickname that all those pompous Pac-12 people give y'all, the flyover conference and stuff like that, may actually be a nice thing now. You could be called the flyover conference because you're flying over there taking all their members, right?
that's a good way to put it. Hey,
And
real
just
quick,
took y'all's lunch money.
I
I
do have
can't
one.
believe the pompousness with which these people talked all the way up to the end here. And yeah, it's not official yet. You're right, but people like Tony Altamore and all those guys, man, they were just. And there was a guy today that was on 365 Sports. He was from the Oregonian,
Mhm.
and he was saying that he thought that now the Pac-12 was in a good spot, and then this TV deal come out that's just, to me, horrendous. And they got them
Yeah,
playing on Tuesday and Wednesday nights.
right. What on in the Pac-12?
Yeah, that TV
Wow.
deal
See, I
with the
missed that. Yeah.
yeah, they supposedly signed a deal with the CW network and to play some of their games on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm like,
Wow.
what is this? They become the MAC West because that's when the MAC plays their games, right?
Uh, Real quick, I got to take care of a piece of business here. I have to give a shout out to my channel sponsor. This show is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. I like to do that. I like to do the point. And
They
by the
got
way,
like
guys,
they
they
got like
also
four different locations, don't they? Like
they've got
one
a
in
third. They have about 14 in West Virginia, but they also have they have one in Charlotte, North Carolina. They have one in Bristol, Tennessee. They have one in Wytheville, Virginia, and they actually have one right in the heart of Big 12 country out in El Dorado, Kansas.
there you go.
So, all
You
you
can
Big 12
go
fans
to
out
the
there, if you live
flyover
in one of
conference,
those places,
just fly on over to the flyover conference, get you a vehicle, right?
there you go. There you go. But anyway, I had to give a shout out to those guys for supporting us here on the channel. Matthew Swanson had a comment here. He says, Couz, you called this months ago. Uh, I was one of the people who predicted this would happen. I had some people, some good sources who were kind of giving me the some good info, some good intel on this that I trusted, and so I ran with it, knowing it could have been wrong, or it could blow up. But it looks like it's coming to fruition. There was a meeting held around May 6th or 7th that I think I mentioned on my show and maybe even on somebody as a guest on somebody else's show. I was over on Double Fries No Slaw, a Florida State channel. Or I'm sorry, it wasn't it was somebody else. It was a Colorado channel actually, and I can't even remember the name of it off the top of my head. But anyway, uh, I was on another pod talking about it as well. But got to give a shout out too to people like Dennis Dodd, Andrew Marchand. Reported this stuff. I think Ross Dellinger, or I don't know if it was Ross Dellinger, but McMurphy mentioned it. The guys at 365 Sports have mentioned it. Greg Flugar over on his channel has been predicting this for months. So there's been a few other people who have reported this as well. And, we were all called Big 12 Anon. We were called, puppets for the Endeavor and the Big 12 and all this other stuff. Uh, you know, I would have never said it. I thought it was going to happen if the people that told me that I didn't trust them. And then also, when you have people like Dennis Dodd reporting it, I mean, come on, you really going to say Dennis Dodd's a liar? I just don't buy it.
Yeah, they just think they were all in denial, man. They didn't want to see that conference go by the wayside, and you can't blame them. That conference has been around for 100 years, man.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't one thing that people kept saying was when they don't want to leave. No, I don't think they did want to leave. I don't think anybody wants to leave their conference. But it comes down to doing what's best for you and your university and your program. And so sometimes you have to make tough decisions that you may not want to make. And I think that's what it came down to in this case. They saw that the exposure was going to be bad. The money may have even been bad. Did they mention anything on that show today, Outlaw, about the money in that Pac-12 deal?
Yeah, they said that you know, George Klivkov called it the summer of George, but it's been the summer of disaster, really.
Mm-hmm.
And they was talking about that it was $12 million short of what the Big 12 is going to get, and it's only 20% linear.
Yeah,
which that's awful.
Wow, wow. Recognize another super chat here. We've got Brad Cheney, a $5 super chat. Thank you, Brad. Brad is also a channel member here at Couz's Corner, along with Outlaw. He's one also. It says, Brad's chat says, just from a WVU standpoint, how much, if any, will Deion being in the Big 12 affect our recruiting? I don't know if it'll really affect our recruiting a whole lot because they're going to be recruiting a lot in Texas. Obviously, Colorado, still some in California, I'm sure. If anything, it might actually hurt our recruiting. I don't know. But again, our primary recruiting area is Ohio, Pennsylvania. So I don't know how much we'll cross paths with Deion. I mean, obviously, there's going to be certain players that you're going to cross paths with, but I don't think it'll affect West Virginia all that much. Honestly, I think it can help us because it's going to help the conference. The conference is going to get better exposure potentially. We're going to pick up a new media market in Denver, a very big media market. Obviously, having Coach Prime, regardless of what you think of Coach Prime, having him in the conference is a good thing from a TV. I mean, look at the TV attention he gets. I mean, their spring game was on ESPN, for crying out loud. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing. Whether you like him or don't like him, I mean, having him in the league is not. It can't be bad for us, in my opinion.
I mean, he'll probably be there for a couple of years. Con time will. He'll probably survive for a couple of years.
Yeah, I hear you. Sergeant Pickles, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. He says, I never hated the Big 12, just a bummer. Go Dogs. Yeah, man. Obviously, you can tell by his logo there that he's a Washington Huskies fan. This is. I don't want to make it seem like I'm jumping up and down on the grave of the Pac-12 here, because there are a lot of good Pac-12 fans out there being impacted by this, like Sergeant Pickles, who's been a really big supporter of the show and who's always been very respectful to me and to others. But, there's also been a contingent of Pac-12 fans, and I'm sure Sergeant Pickles has seen it himself, who have been extremely arrogant about this whole mess. People like Utah Pig Bus on Twitter has been arrogant about this whole mess. And I just, it's hard not to gloat a little bit at those people.
They might be begging for a ticket. I mean, because
right,
if Colorado and Arizona leave, I definitely think that Washington and Oregon are going to go to the Big Ten at that point. And then Arizona State and Utah would be wise. They would be doing a big disservice to their fans and their alumni if they didn't join the Big 12 at that point.
Yeah.
Because the conference is just going to be, it's not even going to be the Pac-12 really. It's going to be probably a bunch of Mountain West teams at that point.
Right. Jeff Natividad says, Jason Shear reported a surprise school. Who do you think that could be? Just for fun, not asking for a prediction. Yeah. Well, there actually is some I don't want to call it smoke. It's not that heavy yet, but some noise out there about Oregon State potentially being in the mix here. And I'll be honest with you, I've never come out and said this on my show because I thought it would be too big of a kind of a hot take. It might seem like I was making something up. But when the whole time as this whole thing's been unfolding over the past few months, the one school you've heard hardly nothing from has been Oregon State. And a lot of times when you don't hear anything from a school, it's because there's something going on behind the scenes, right? They can't talk about. So maybe Oregon State is in play here. That's
what happened with Oklahoma and Texas. Oklahoma and Texas, nobody knew they were leaving until boom, they left.
Peek around the corner. Salt of the Earth says peek around the corner. Just stated, look out for Washington to the Big 12. That would be big too.
That would be
huge.
That would be huge. If the Big 12 could get Washington, get the Seattle market, that would get your mark exactly on the West Coast where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
But I think I don't have nothing, like you said, I don't have nothing against the Pac-12 teams. It's just like you said, there's a few people out there that just come across as pompous and real dismissive of, how dare you associate us with the Big 12 and that kind of deal. And I just thought it was a bad look for them.
Yeah.
Now it's a really bad look. And I was going to ask you this too: if they went out and got Colorado and Arizona, at that point, would the TV people be more able to maybe listen to possibly adding teams that maybe are not in the Power Five? You get Colorado and Arizona and maybe bring in UConn, somebody like that.
Maybe, but the only worry about that is Fox and ESPN are not going to be willing, I don't think, to step up and pay any extra revenue for a group of 5 team. Now, I've heard there's a rumor out there that they are willing to do it for UConn. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
Probably because of their basketball, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that's the case, the only thing I don't want to happen, I don't want the existing Big 12 members to have to foot the bill for new schools to come in. Does that make sense?
Right.
If the TV networks are not willing to pay it, I don't want them to be added. That's
right.
Because we can't. I mean, we're already what 30, 40, $50 million behind the other leagues, the Big Ten and the SEC. We don't need to fall behind anymore. So
a lot of the G5 schools that's left to pick from, you would have to take a cut, like you're talking about. They probably wouldn't be willing to do it. But UConn, to me, would be an extenuating circumstance because they won a national championship in basketball, which is the second biggest money-making sport in college athletics. So, and a few years back, matter of fact, I think didn't they go to a bowl game this year, or was it the year before?
No, they went this past season. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like they're horrific, and they did have a lot of bad seasons there for a little time period there, but they used to be a pretty decent football team, especially when they were back in Division I AA days. They had a pretty nice powerhouse school back then.
Yeah. Sergeant Pickles, thank you for stopping in, man. Thank you for the support of the channel. And hope everything works out well for your Huskies, man. I really do.
It will. Washington will find a place. So will
they
Oregon.
will. Yeah, Washington and Oregon are going to be fine, in my opinion. Utah maybe even. I don't know. They're kind of a unique circumstance here because they're arguably the best team in the conference right now, as far as on the field.
Yeah.
I know everybody's picking USC to win the league, but I think people are overlooking Utah again, like they always do. But they've consistently been one of the top teams in the league, the last several years. I know some of their fans have been a little arrogant, but through this whole process. But when you look at their team, they've been right there. And I think they're good enough that they will end up somewhere. It may not be where they want to be, but I do think they'll be okay in the end.
I just think if Colorado and Arizona leave, that it's going to give the Big Ten that big green light. They're going to go after Oregon and Washington, and it's going to be over. The conference is not going to exist anymore. It might exist in name, like I said, but it's not going to really be the Pac-12 anymore. They'll probably lose their Power 5 status if they lose those 4 teams. Would you agree with that? They lost those 4 teams.
Oh, absolutely.
Would they lose their Power 5 status?
I think so. I mean, they wouldn't have enough teams to be a Power 5 school at that point. Tim, you're going to like this comment, Outlaw. Tim Gillespie says, Colin Cowherd must be beside himself right now. LOL.
Yeah. Maybe old Linky Boy can console him. Give him a pack of Skittles or something so he don't lose his bowels or anything.
Daniel Gigax, big supporter of the channel here. He says there was a picture of Bucky Buckeye in the Oregon Duck posted today. Yeah, I saw that late last night, right before I went to bed. It caused a lot of speculation that maybe Oregon was going to the Big Ten. Personally, I think it probably has something to do with a game that's been scheduled between the 2 schools, but who knows? You never know, man.
I'm going to say it's the coolest last name I've ever seen. Every time I'm on your channel, I see that guy's name, man. I was like, man, I wish I had a last name like that. It sounds like a rock star or something.
Yeah, he's a West Virginia fan, but he lives out in California, in the Bay Area out there.
Damn, that sucks. Get out of there, brother, while you can.
Tim Gillespie says, actually meant John Canzano. No, sorry. My disdain for Cowherd took over for a moment there. Well, Tim, Outlaw shares your disdain for Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, Tim's a regular on my channel. He hit me up early. I told him to try to link us out a little bit.
Okay. Well, thank you, Tim.
He's a great guy, man. He sent me a nice Bible, a leatherback Bible with gold trim on it. He's a pretty good guy.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim, for being on here, man, and supporting the show. Salt of the Earth says, heard the picture is a Nike ad. Yeah, I think it's something like that. I don't think it's realignment related at all. I think people were reading a little bit too much into that. Just my opinion, but I could be wrong.
What happens to the real snooty schools, the Stanfords and the Californians? What happens to them?
Yeah, and that's actually Scotty B, the Baylor King, just put that in the comments. He said he's worried about. He said if I was Oregon State, Washington State, Cal, and Stanford, he would be worried.
Yeah, you better go try to steal one of them spots from Arizona State and Utah before Arizona State and Utah get smart.
Yeah. Daniel Gigax says he grew up in Fayette and Boone County, did 20 years in the United States Air Force, all here in California.
Y'all got a Fayette County in West Virginia?
We do. Yep.
We got one in Alabama. So
yeah,
actually neighboring county of Tuscaloosa County.
You ever heard of the New River Gorge Bridge?
The what?
New River Gorge Bridge.
No, I never heard of
West Virginia. It's the longest arch bridge in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Arch bridge, like it goes straight up?
Or the Western Hemisphere, whatever hemisphere we're in.
Does it go like straight up?
Well, an arch bridge, it's an arch in the middle. Yeah, it kind of goes up.
Yeah, it's sort of scary, isn't it?
Then it arches. I mean, obviously the road itself is straight, obviously, but it's between two massive mountains, and it goes over a big gorge.
Yeah, I ain't driving up there.
It's a mile long, dude. Seriously, from one end to the other is 1 mile.
I'm scared of heights, man.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Every year they have what they call Bridge Day, and people come from all over the country and skydive off that bridge.
Wow. Yeah, I won't be doing that anytime soon.
It's a big event, and actually, it's always in the middle. It's always in the fall during football season, and there's been a few occasions there have been home football games, and that's the road you have to take to get to Morgantown from the southern part of the state. It's the shortest route, so there have been a few occasions where they do it on a home football Saturday, and they shut the whole road down, so people have to travel the long way to get to Morgantown, and it adds about 2 hours to your trip.
When I made my video today about the whole situation with Colorado and the Pac-12 TV deal, I had a guy getting there. He comes in quite a lot. He's a Pac-12 guy. His name's David Kreitzer.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something to the effect that Tuesday and Wednesday games is a move that needed to be made a long time ago. And they're still trying to put a spin on it, man. Nobody wants to play on Tuesday and Wednesday night, man. That
Right.
screws your whole tailgating experience up.
Yeah.
Probably going to hurt your attendance on games too, wouldn't it?
Maybe. I mean, it's hard for me to criticize that because the Big 12 has agreed to play some Thursday night games as part of their deal. So
Yeah, Thursday night's not that big of a deal, but Tuesday and Wednesday,
yeah,
it's just Thursday nights they've been doing that for a while.
yeah.
But Tuesday and Wednesday nights, man, that's in the middle of the work week.
Yeah, we played a lot of those in the Big East days. Matter of fact, West Virginia played 3 Thursday night games last year. They played one. The Pitt game was a Thursday night game. The Virginia Tech game, I think, was a Thursday night game, and then the Baylor game at home was a Thursday night game. And
yeah, but y'all don't play games on Tuesday and Wednesday.
No, we don't. No, we
That's
don't.
awful, man. You'd be better off Monday night, like Monday Night Football, man. Tuesday and Wednesday, man, it's the middle of the work week. Nobody's going to come out on the middle of the work week.
Right. Silas says we're going to take you ziplining at Ace Adventures.
What's that?
Silas says we're going to take you ziplining.
Yeah. Now, I don't know about all that. I probably won't survive that.
Peanut Butter Hero agrees with you. He says playing on Tuesday and Wednesday, they might as well be Mountain West.
That's right. Or the MAC West.
And no more
That's
looking
where the
down.
MAC plays all their games.
Yeah. Maction, right? Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah.
Maction?
Mac thought they had their own little thing, man. They don't no more. They got competition from the Pac-12 now. Congratulations, Pac-12. You're competing with the Mac.
Well, I mean, think about it. Are you going to tune in and watch? If you're a casual football fan, are you going to tune in and watch Akron and Central Michigan? Or are you going to tune in and watch Oregon and Utah? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Peanut Butter Hero says no more looking down on Boise State.
Why not? They still ain't in a good conference yet. I mean, are they going? No, I don't think anybody's ever going to add Boise State. They had their little window of opportunity a while back, and I think that window's passed for Boise State.
He says there are a bunch of Boise States now in the Pac-12, is what he's saying, because of the Tuesday night thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't think about that. They won't be able to look down Boise State. They may need them to fill out their roster.
Yeah. I think I got another super chat here I need to get to. Let's see. Who do I got here? Thank you guys for the super chats. Kenny Evans. He's also a channel member. If you see that little badge beside his name, that means he's a member here at Couz's Corner. He says Pac-12 should have done something over the last year. Now they will pay dearly and more teams will go too. Exactly. That's exactly probably what's going to happen, Kenny. And I would say there's a lot of emergency meetings being called right now, board meetings being called in the Pac-12 schools right now. If I had to guess, to find out what the heck's going to happen.
If the Pac-12 wants to be mad at somebody, they need to be mad at Kevin Warren in the Big Ten.
Yep.
We're psyching them up and telling them in the ACC, hey, we're all going to be kumbaya and we're going to hold hands and we're not going to raid each other's conferences. And then a year later, they raid the Pac-12.
Yep. Well said.
The Big Ten
well said.
Got blood on their hands. They don't like you to say that, but they got it.
Yeah, Nighttime. He knows what's up. He says, hit that like button for Couz, y'all.
Damn straight.
Thank you, Nighttime. Nighttime's a UCF fan. Welcome to the Big 12, UCF. And I'll tell you, man, I did a UCF video the other day, and I got to give props to the UCF fans. They shared the sucker out to groups. They supported it. I got all kinds of DMs thanking me for doing it.
Yep.
To be honest with you, most of my interactions, all of my interactions on YouTube with UCF fans have all been positive for the most part. But on Twitter, I've run across a few that were pretty arrogant, to be honest. But man, I did that video and they were like, man, you know, we love when people give us attention. We love when people shout us out and show us love and respect us. I think all they want, honestly, is a little respect. And I think UCF has a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because of probably the disrespect they received over the years from the likes of Florida and Florida State and Miami, people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure that's going to make you a little bit. It's going to make you a little bit cocky, I guess, or a little bit defensive or whatever.
A little chippy.
At times, yeah, a little chippy. And you know what? It's good.
Yormark did a great job going out and getting the best 4 G5 schools. If you was going to go out and get 4 schools, those are the exact schools you need to get.
I mean, absolutely.
And there's nobody really after it. It's like now they took all the good ones. So it's like you can't get nobody else unless you're going to get Memphis or Tulane or SMU or somebody like that.
Yeah. UConn.
And UConn, I forget about UConn. UConn's probably the only outlier that I would be all right with as a Big 12 person. Adding UConn will be all right. But I did it sort of like you did, except a different team. I did a couple of videos on BYU. And man, they just ate it up. It done a lot better than I thought, man. I got over 3,000 views for that BYU video.
Yeah. BYU and UCF fans are very passionate. Houston fans can be at times. Cincinnati fans, I can't figure them out yet. Number one, I don't see a whole lot of YouTube content on Cincinnati. So maybe I need to show Cincinnati some more love too. But
the problem with Cincinnati is they're in a state that's been dominated by one team for over 100 years. That's Ohio State. Ohio State's never had to contend with another team in the state, whereas, you know, Alabama has to contend with Auburn and stuff like that. So that state's been dominated by Ohio State for so long, man. It's going to be hard for them to get a fan base.
Yeah,
although
Dennis
Central
Haiti.
Florida's doing it. Central Florida's doing it, like you said, man. They got a huge enrollment.
They do. They're either the biggest or second biggest in the country, right there with Arizona State.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know Arizona State was that big. They're
Yeah, I
pretty
didn't
big.
either until I looked at a chart on it not long ago.
You know, they have
Uh,
a big online presence, an online school for Arizona State. That's
yeah,
probably where that comes from.
it is, I think.
So, like,
Dennis Haiti says, funny how both guys who were integral to USC going to the Big Ten left their positions in controversy. Kevin Warren made deals that they needed to correct, and Mike Bone resigned in disgrace. Good point. Mike Bone was USC's AD, for those of you who may not know. Jacob
yeah,
Yoho thinks we need to get USF. I got mixed feelings on USF. Um, USF just hasn't shown they did just get into the AAU for however much that matters.
oh shit,
But and they are a Florida school. That would be
you
a
had to throw
positive.
that out there, didn't you?
I did. I knew you'd love it. I knew you'd absolutely love it. But they are a Florida school, and they are a big rival to UCF. So having that rivalry game would be cool. I just don't know if USF moves the needle enough. I don't know if their fans are passionate enough, and I don't know if they're. And let's just be honest, they've not been that good. Now, when they were in the
I
Big
was
East,
sort of one
they
too.
had some good seasons in the Big East, but ever since the Big East fell apart, USF hasn't been very good.
Well, I was sort of one that I did too. Then I got to thinking about it. And they would have the Orlando market and the Tampa Bay market if they were to get those two, which are two pretty big markets. I mean, they're actually bigger than Gainesville and Tallahassee.
Yeah.
So it might not be a bad move. Like I said, UCF used to be pretty good. They're not really good right now. They're awful, as a matter of fact. I think they won one game last year. But back when they had Jim Leavitt, I don't know if you remember him or not.
I do, yeah.
He was an excellent coach. He was
That's
even
one.
actually on the list for Alabama before we hired Mike Shula.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, he was. They were in the Big East with us then, and that year, 2007, the year we lost to Pitt, last game of the year, where we got knocked out of the national title game. Our only other loss that year was to USF. They were actually good, and I think they were ranked that year. Thomas Peters says, "Join late. What's happening with the pack?" Colorado. There's been multiple reports. I think Brett McMurphy may have been the first one out of the gate. Pete Thamel from ESPN also reported it. They said that Colorado, matter of fact, let me just pull it up. I've got it ready to pull up here.
The first guy I got it from was Greg Swain. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He about 2:00 this afternoon, he was talking about it. And that's when I done that video.
Okay. What the heck just happened? Hold on a minute.
What you got?
All right, here we go.
Time to prepare for?
That's just Brett McMurphy's tweet, man.
I'm just messing with you.
Brett McMurphy, I know. Brett McMurphy says Colorado leaving Pac-12 to return to Big 12 in 2024. Sources told Action Network. Colorado will receive full Big 12 share of $31.7 million from ESPN and Fox Media deal. Buffs left because of Big 12 stability and Pac-12's uncertainty. Sources said. Announcement Thursday.
My, how the tables have turned, Couz. I mean, a couple of years ago, it was like the Big 12 was dead and done and over with.
Yeah,
And the Pac-12, if they'd been smart, they would have expanded right then. But nope, like I said, they're gonna listen to Kevin Warren's snaky ass, and they get what they got.
And guess who? It's my understanding, the school that was totally against adding anybody from the Big 12 was USC. They basically stopped it.
Yeah, sort of like, and I know they're gonna get mad at me, but sort of like, Texas. I don't know if Oklahoma was but Texas and Oklahoma, they say, had a lot to do with not letting the Big 12 expand when they wanted to. About, what was it, 4 years ago, when they vetted BYU and Central Florida then.
Yeah. Spencer Williams.
Wasn't it Texas and Oklahoma that kept the Big 12 from expanding back in 2016?
It was, yeah. I think so. And
I'm thinking, why'd y'all do that, man? If y'all going to leave anyway. What the hell?
yeah, and Texas and Oklahoma, along with Texas Tech and I think it was Texas A&M at the time before they went to the SEC. They almost went to the Pac-12 back in 2011. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yeah.
But it was Texas. No, I'm sorry. It was Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma and Texas, I believe, were the fourth. Texas A&M may have already left at that point. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
Texas A&M and Missouri had already left for the SEC,
Yeah.
and so then the Pac-12 come in, and they were thinking they're going to get 4 teams from the Big 12. So it's been a couple of times. I'm glad you brought that up. It's been actually 2 times that the Big 12 was on their deathbed, and the Pac-12 had a chance, and they didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah. Big 12 did.
I think the best thing for West Virginia to ever happen to them was that they stayed in the Big 12. I know a lot of your fans wanted to go to the ACC for a long time there, but I think that things are working out the way they need to for West Virginia.
Yeah, I don't know how happy our AD is going to be about having to travel more out west.
That's why I said y'all need to try to get UConn.
Yeah, and that's why I'm big on adding UConn, as long as it doesn't dilute the money, because we need another travel. We need a team in the East, in my opinion.
That's
it
right.
gets us into a new media market. UConn is people have debated me on this, but I've heard recently on several shows, several pretty highly respected media people talk about UConn. They do bring a big portion of the New York media market with them in basketball. People don't believe it.
It's so small; it's just really a part of New York. To be honest with you,
right? Yeah, they bring a big chunk of that Northeast market, man.
And Hartford's not a small city, so
no, it's not. It's actually a pretty good sized media market in itself that people don't realize that. Hartford, Connecticut.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, I'm sort of dating myself. They had an NHL team called the Hartford Whalers at one time.
Yep, they did. I'm gonna read this comment. It says, "Man, glad you're doing this YouTube thing today. I'd like to take a moment of silence for Golden Blue Dude. He called this. I've seen that mentioned a few times. How Golden Blue Dude would have been so excited today about this.
He'd been all over this. This would have been like heaven for him.
It would have been. So, if you don't mind, Outlaw, let's take a few seconds of a moment of silence to remember Golden Blue Dude. If you're okay with that? All right. All right. That's Spencer. I appreciate you bringing that up, man. That was a nice touch there.
What was Golden Blue Dude's little mantra that he started off with? He had a little catchphrase.
I don't remember.
He sort of had a WWE style about it, man. That's why I liked him. He got me.
Yeah.
He helped me out a lot. I mean, me and him butted head a few times, but he helped me out a lot in the podcasting aspect of things.
Right. Yeah, if you ever asked him a question, he was always good to help you, man.
I still use the program that he put me on to called KindMaster to make a lot of my videos and stuff and edit it and all that good stuff that really riles people up.
Yeah, Kenny Evans says, I want the Big 12 to expand more from the East. I do too, Kenny. And by the way, guys, Kenny's a channel member. If you see the little badge beside his name, channel members, there are several perks that go along with being a member. One of them is you get your comments read. You get precedence. Your comments take precedence during live streams and things like that. So that's one of the perks of being a paid member of the channel. If you guys are ever and it's an easy way to support me here.
That's right.
Because it's $2.99 a month or $4.99 a month. Huh?
$2.99, $4.99.
Yeah, I've got two levels, $4.99 and $2.99.
If you do the $2.99, man, that's not but 75 cents a week.
It is. Yep.
Or right about. So.
Yep. Charge on UCF. Got some UCF people in the house. Zachary Johnson says no UConn. Thank you, Zach, for the comment, man. There are a lot of people who feel that way. I disagree. When UConn was in the Big East with us back in the mid 2000s, they were a good team. They actually made a BCS game one year.
That's right.
They were competitive. They were ranked in the top 10, if not top 5 at one point. They've got Jim Moore Jr. there now, who's doing a good job with them. Got him to a bowl game last year in his first season. My understanding is they have a pretty big athletic budget. Now, the one downfall for them is their athletic budget, my understanding is paid. The school basically pays for their athletics. So, um, if a president ever comes in that
I,
UConn decides they want to stop doing that, it would be a huge blow to their athletic department.
well, I mean, I would like for him to elaborate on that. I mean, why not UConn? I don't understand. I mean, you have all these other people that's hot in the panties for Gonzaga and teams like that, and Gonzaga don't even have a football team.
The only argument I've heard so far is that they're terrible in football. But man, we had Kansas and
No,
Iowa State in the league at the same time, or we
no,
still do.
UConn's just going through what you call a cycle, man. They used to be pretty good. They used to be decent. I mean, they wasn't like
Yeah,
world beaters, but they were at least going to a bowl every other year.
yeah. My comeback to that is always this: how bad was Kansas for how many years?
A long time.
No, nobody had an issue with them being in the conference. How bad was Iowa State for many years?
Long
Nobody
time.
nobody had an issue with them being in the conference. What's the
That's right.
difference?
Exactly.
What's the difference? And then
It's
you get
called lulls and cycles, and it happens in college football.
and you get one of the best basketball programs in the country on top of it. Spencer says Yormark has basketball contract plans. Yeah, and I have mixed feelings on that. To be honest with you, I'm hoping to do a video on it at some point. Now this is a good argument, Zach. UConn is not a culture fit. Now that could be true. That is one argument that I actually kind of agree with on that. They're more of a Northeast liberal culture up there, where the Big 12 is more of a conservative, you know, culture. So I totally get that.
Well, I mean, is BYU a cultural fit?
Sort of, yeah, a bit. I mean, we already got Baylor and TCU. Well, I wouldn't even consider TCU a religious school anymore. I don't think they qualify. If you're not willing to say the word Christian, then you're not a Christian school.
I mean,
But Baylor, yeah, that's all big pet peeve for me. But anyway, Baylor, Baylor's a private Christian school.
is Colorado a cultural fit? Ain't they more of a
That's a great point. That's a great point. Also, if we're okay bringing in Colorado, then why are we not okay bringing in?
yeah, 'cause
Maybe Zach is not okay bringing in Colorado. I don't know his opinion.
Colorado has a lot of stuff about them, especially politically speaking, that doesn't really fit.
Yeah,
As much as we want to keep politics out of sports, it always bleeds into it somehow.
it does. And fan apathy is another thing Zachary brings up. UConn fans are very passionate when it comes to their basketball, Zach. And I think if their football team starts winning again, I think you'll see a change, a little bit of a change there too. I don't think they'll ever be as passionate as we are at West Virginia or Alabama or Oklahoma or any of those types of places. But there again, look at the pack. But are Colorado fans going to be as passionate? I don't. Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't know a lot about Colorado fans. I'm probably getting ready to learn more now that they're joining our conference, and I'm looking forward to that. But
Colorado did win a national championship back in 1990. I think they split it with Georgia
right.
Tech. But
Yep.
I don't know, man. Just like you said, I since then I haven't really seen much passion out of them.
Houston fans aren't that passionate either. Let's be honest. Houston's a pro sports town. They like the pro sports in Houston. They don't care that much about the Houston Cougars.
It takes a team to be a huge winner, sort of like the Hurricanes were back in the late 80s, early 90s, because that was a Dolphins town until they started winning big time. And, what was the last time they won a national title? Was 2001?
Who's this?
Miami Hurricanes? Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
I think it was 2001, but once they started losing, people stopped coming, man. It's a pro sports town, and you got to keep winning. That's sort of like USC. They don't fill their stadium up because it's a pro sports town.
I'm going to pull up this tweet here that I've been told.
That's my obligatory shot at USC, by the way.
I hear. Yeah, I know. I'm okay with that. I'm not a fan of USC either, so you're welcome to take shots out on my show, brother.
What did that UCF fan say? He said, "Do he say charge on? Did he say charge on?"
I think so.
I mean, that sounds a lot like fight on, man. They need to get them a different fight catchphrase. Sound too much like USC.
Yeah, whoever put that on there about Jim Williams? Oh, here we go. Jim Williams says, all right, let me share this real quick.
Yep.
Hold on. I finally found it. I didn't want to share it till I found it.
Yeah,
Jim Williams, for those of you who, as a reminder, Jim Williams, he's been on my show before. Friend of the show, great, very nice guy. He used to be a producer at ESPN. He's worked at several big networks. He knows all about the industry. He has sources in the industry. And here's what he tweeted out about 39 minutes ago. It says, Alex, about an hour ago, I tweeted out that my source was a high-ranking – oh, that's not the right tweet. My bad. Let me go down here and find it. Well, Jiminy Christmas. That's one thing I don't like about Twitter, man. You can't find stuff when you need it. Anyway, let me go back up. That one might have told me what I needed to know. I tweeted out that my source was a high-ranking member of the UConn administration who said that things will be exciting here this week as we expect. Okay, there it is. As we expect to join the Big 12 conference. Wow.
There you go.
UConn.
We didn't even know that, and we're sitting over here talking about it, man.
That's awesome. I got to give a shout out to the comment that's up on the screen now. Curtis D. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, man.
That's right. That's the common go, putting you in the know.
If I had to guess, now this is total speculation. Okay, I'm totally speculating here. But if I'm Ren Baker and Gordon Gee at West Virginia, and they bring to me a proposal to add Colorado, here's my response. Yeah, I'm okay with it, but here's my request. Give us somebody from the East if you're going to add Colorado.
Exactly.
Give us a team that helps us out from a travel perspective if you're going to add another team from the West.
For all those people out there saying, well, they're saying that there's no way they're going to add UConn. Well, they also said there was no way that Colorado was going to leave the Pac-12, and look at what's about to happen. So yeah. I think it would be fair because UConn, like I said, they got extenuating circumstances and the fact that they're a basketball powerhouse.
Yeah. I'm hearing Arizona and either Oregon or Washington per 365. Yeah, they've been brought up. I personally don't see Oregon or Washington. I mean, it would be awesome if they do. I just don't see it. I think they're going to end up in the Big Ten at some point, to be honest.
If Colorado leaves tomorrow, the Big Ten will be on the phone with those two schools ASAP.
Yeah. I saw Jim Williams also tweeted out, or it may not have been Jim Williams, it may have been somebody else. No, it was MHVER3. Put this tweet out a minute ago. It says, let me find it again. For those of you if you don't know who MHVER3 is, he's a West Virginia fan who supposedly is right on top of the realignment stuff. But he said that UNLV, San Diego State, and a few other schools were basically had already been contacted by Brett Yormark and told to stay on standby. So he's scrambling, basically.
I had another one of those Pac-12 guys come in my feed the other day. He was talking about he wanted to make a $200 bet with me yesterday. His name was Western Civic something.
Yeah, I know him.
He wanted to make a $200 bet with me that, that the Pac-12 would not be losing any teams to the Big 12.
You should have. You probably would have never seen the money.
That's what I told him. I said, man, I ain't going to make a bet with you because you're probably not going to pay up anyway.
Yeah.
Because, the Pac-12, man, they're going to be non-existent, man. It's going to just be an imaginary conference in the future, in my opinion. Sort of like this Smurf right here. You see?
Make believe.
Yeah, that's right. That's the Pac-12 in the future.
Oh, guys, my allergies are absolutely killing me tonight. I mowed grass earlier this evening.
Yeah.
Man, it has my allergies absolutely torn up.
When I used to have to cut grass, I don't right now, I live in an apartment, but when I did, man, I'd always forget to put that mask on. You put that mask on, it'll help you out a lot.
I don't like those masks, man. I don't breathe good in them. And it was 80-some degrees here today, which is hot for us. And yeah. I didn't want to deal with it. But anyway, Tim Gillespie says cultural fit is overrated. The university presidents are all far more liberal than the culture around them. I don't think that matters. That's a great point.
It is. I mean, and what's wrong with maybe expanding your horizons culturally? You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Philip Anderson.
even within the Southeastern Conference, cultures are a little different. Like down in Florida, it's not really Southern. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the most Southern state geographically, but a lot of those people are transplanted Northern people. So,
Yeah. Philip Anderson says, I'm concerned about too much West Coast influence. That's fair. That's fair. Don't Falk Up 23. I love his name, by the way. Says, I look forward to have another fan base at the Bounce House. He's a UCF fan. He was one of those UCF fans I spoke about earlier who was really supportive and sharing out my stuff. Jeff Fuller, another friend of the show. He's been on here. Big day, boys. Great content as always. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate you, man. Jeff's a good BYU fan. Has written several articles that have appeared in ESPN 960, which is an arm
he's
of
the BYU guy, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Need to check out them BYU podcasts that I did, Jeff. You'd like them.
Joey Foster's in the house. He says, hey, Outlaw, you're always talking about USC and Miami. There are quite a few other teams.
Did I say something about Miami?
He's probably thinking about
I'm always saying something about them because they got some of the worst fans as far as being loyal and supporting their teams. They only come out, Joey, when they're winning. And even when they're winning, you don't see USC filling up their stadium. They just don't.
Adding Colorado and Arizona will be great. TV markets will be great for the next football and basketball contract. I agree. Can we get a moment of silence for the Pac-9 too? No, we're not giving them a moment of silence, Ron. Sorry.
They're gonna be called the Pac-2 for long.
I'm
hearing they'll have to go out and start adding Hawaii and other teams not in the continental United States.
Joey says he's hearing it's Oregon State, and his understanding is UConn was voted down by 4 teams. What a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, Oregon State.
That, Colorado wasn't going to join either, so we'll see.
Oregon State would be a good travel partner for BYU potentially.
Maybe, even though that's separated.
Well,
right?
I was going to say there's quite a bit of distance between them, though, isn't there? I don't know if they're close enough to be travel partners, but maybe they are.
What happens to Washington State, man? Do they end up getting knocked down to the Mountain West?
I don't know, man. I worry about them a little bit. Washington State. When I've done some videos on fan bases and TV TV viewership and things like that, they actually draw a lot more eyeballs than you think. They have pretty decent TV viewership numbers, really, actually. And I've been told by a few of their fans, that they actually get quite a bit of draw from the Seattle market, a lot more than now. Washington Huskies obviously are going to be the dominant team in the Seattle market, but Washington State is second, and Seattle's a big market. So Washington State may have a pretty decent sized fan base, actually. P Digits says, "Night fellas, great show and thanks for the entertainment." Thank you for being on here, P Digits. We appreciate the support, man. Everybody, make sure to go over to Outlaw College Football's channel and give him a sub and check out his work.
That's right. We'll have a good old time.
Western Civic is having a meltdown right now.
Washington State's actually had a lot of real famous coaches that, just used them as a stepping stone.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know this, and I was reading some history the other day. Johnny Majors used to be a head coach at Washington State, and Jackie Sherrill, Mike Leach, Dennis Erickson. They've had some pretty good coaches up there.
They have.
But I hear Pullman's like in the middle of nowhere. Sort of like
it is.
It's sort of like Starksville down here. I tell you now, if we had a reset, a lot of those teams grandfathered in with the SEC probably wouldn't make the cut, like Mississippi State.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to Starksville, man, you'd know that they wouldn't make the cut.
Ron Lowney, you're saying it's going to be announced tomorrow. I assume you're talking about the Colorado thing, or is there something else you're talking about?
Yeah, I heard it's going to be about 4:00 our time tomorrow.
Your time or mine?
I heard it from the 365 guys, the 365 Sports. I'm not sure what time zone they're in. They're in
Central time. Yeah, they're in
Central
time.
So it'd be 5:00 your time.
Okay.
Is what they were saying. is when they're supposed to make the announcement. But you just never know, man. They've been dragging their feet for so long on this that you won't believe it until you see it.
Oh, Ron was talking about Oregon and Washington in the Big Ten. He thinks that's going to be announced tomorrow.
Yeah. There you go.
It's possible. It's possible. There's possible that all these deals were already done. They were just waiting for the first domino to fall.
That's what it's been. That's the Big Ten's been chomping at the bit, waiting for Colorado to do this. That'll give them an excuse, and it'll clear their conscience.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let them clear it because we all know they got blood on their hands.
What is the latest on Bob Huggins? I haven't heard anything. Last thing I heard about Huggins was he was threatening to sue the school because he's claiming he never actually resigned. The school had reportedly, this is all reportedly, the school reportedly had proof that he did, and they said they were prepared to fight him in court. And that's the last thing that I've heard.
Well, even if he didn't resign, and I may be wrong about this, but what he did, wouldn't that constitute moral turpitude of the contract?
Yeah, probably so. The only reason he didn't get fired was because they gave him grace to resign.
Exactly. Now he's sort of using that against him.
Yeah.
I like Bob Huggins, but I really don't like that. I don't think that's cool the way he's doing things.
It's not. I don't like it either. Look, last night, I don't know if you're familiar with the TBT tournament. It's a basketball tournament where a bunch of former pros or pros get together and play in a tournament for a bunch of alumni, basically from different schools get together and play in a tournament, and the winning team gets $1 million. Well, West Virginia's got a team in it, and last night they won their game on a last second 3-pointer, and the guy who made it, Eric Stevenson, Hugs was there to watch the game because it was in West Virginia. Well, he pointed at him in the stands, saying, "You're my guy. You're my guy." And it was kind of emotional. I'm not going to lie. Bob Huggins is always going to be loved by fans here because of the good he's done. But at the same time, we can still love the guy and appreciate what he did, and still think he should have been fired for what he did. I mean, It doesn't have to be one or the other. And a lot of fans can't separate those. A lot of fans think it's either one or the other.
Even if he's in the wrong, if it was you or I, we'd probably be bitter too. We're in the twilight of our career and we get pushed out like that. That's not the greatest way to go out.
Yeah.
What is he, 70 years old?
He's right. He's 69, 70. I don't know when his birthday is. But.
So he's probably not going to coach again. So he's probably a little bitter.
Oregon State has great fans. I was at the Cal Oregon State in 2017 in Berkeley. A lot of orange and black in the building. They also just rebuilt their football stadium. Thank you for that, Daniel. I appreciate the comment.
Florida Gators sure don't like them Oregon State Beavers. I beat the crap out of them in the Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah, I hear you. Colorado making it official tomorrow. Primetime will increase the revenue share potentially. Colorado or any other P5 teams were part of the money extension clause. Luke Bart, another channel member. Thank you, Luke, for your support of the channel, man. He says, Jacob Yoho, I still wouldn't watch. Ha ha. I don't know what they're talking about there. I missed that comment. But anyway, guys, I'm getting ready to wrap this up here. It's getting late here in the East. It's 10:18. My family's probably ready to go to bed. So one more time, guys, please don't forget to go check out for your next vehicle purchase, your next service work. Go check out the fine folks at Dutch Miller Auto. They have locations throughout the state of West Virginia. They also have locations in Charlotte, North Carolina, Bristol, Tennessee, Wytheville, Virginia, and El Dorado, Kansas. And then also, Outlaw, one more time, let everybody know where they can find you at.
I'm on Outlaw of College Football on YouTube, and I'm also on Twitter at OCF Productions.
Yeah, everybody go check out his work. He does a lot of stuff. He covers all of college football, but he's very entertaining. He likes to go after people, but it's all in fun. It's all in entertainment, and it's all
I like to add a little comedy to it.
Yeah, I guarantee he's very unique. You won't find anybody like him on YouTube. I can guarantee you that. But anyway, guys, Outlaw, thank you for coming on the show tonight. It's always a lot easier and a lot more fun when I have somebody to chop it up with.
Sir, appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Everybody, thank you for the support. Thank you for coming on tonight. This kind of last minute live stream here that I really didn't have a chance to promote a lot. Thank you for all of those who gave super chats. Thank you for my channel members. Thanks for everybody in the chat room, everybody who's watching. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out if you haven't yet. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Outlaw's channel if you haven't. That being said, guys, we appreciate it. We're out. And Q Country Roads.